and welcome to the Braver, Newer, Worlder podcast. This is March 24th in the year of the apocalypse. And here we are we're still surviving in the underground.
Wow.
Yeah, just before we came on, we were just like talking about, all right, what the hell are we going to talk about? And like, we just came up with like 19 different things and had to edit that down. So I guess our pre-production meetings and a Google Drive are kind of a waste of fucking time.
I think they are.
We're just going to wind up doing whatever. But we did absolutely want to say that tonight we celebrate, Afroman and a win for the First Amendment in an otherwise tumultuous, possibly fascist regime.
Speaking of Afro.
Right on, man. I can do it. I'll
The
tell
white
you what,
man's Afro.
I use thank God for my girlfriend. She worked for Redken for 20 years. She managed this since it was about that long, and I was ready to shave it back off again. But we go to fucking Aruba every now and then for vacation, and 3 days of just air blowing and not doing shit to it, I fucking love it. Like, I could live like, it's just the softest. Like, it is like, I was like, I could totally live that life. Like, I could see me retiring with a fucking tiki bar somewhere way south.
Yes,
So,
way south. Expatriate lifestyle. Please.
So for the
sign me up.
audience, we were texting either last week or earlier. Yeah, I think it was last week. And my two co-hosts were talking about the Afroman trial. And I said, I saw the trial, but I wasn't familiar with Afroman until the trial. And they're like, what are you talking about? Then they started rattling off his songs. I'm like, nope. Then they got to Because I Was High. I was like, okay.
Then I got
I know who it is.
because yeah.
And
Right.
good timing there, Chronic.
Right. He is a celebratory type. Right. He is a celebratory type. But yeah, like even like my girlfriend, like she remembered. Like he was so ubiquitous at the time. Like that song was, I mean, in the world of one hit wonder, whatever you want to call it, right? It was as big as it can get. Everybody heard it. And it was funny, right? It was just goofy and funny and kind of like anyway, I had a thought of that one like that was sung like the dude sang it like totally off key way back in like the 80s or something, like Bismarcky or some shit.
Okay. Would you ever try to girl
you
tried to date?
Yeah. It's like goofy, but the Afroman was totally doing his own thing, right? So anyway, how's the story go? Like, right? Who wants to start? Like,
I don't know exactly how it started, but from what I've seen on the Instagram feeds and stuff, from what I've heard is, for whatever reason, and I don't know how this started, but for some reason the sheriff's department in Afroman's, and I don't remember because I only know him as Afroman. I haven't learned his full name yet off the top of my head.
Joseph Foreman.
Joseph Foreman.
His legal name is Joseph Foreman. I've got an article.
Show?
They were so. Say again.
From that 70s show. Isn't that Joseph?
Was that the name, Joseph? Foreman was the last name of the family on the 70s. So absolutely.
Yep.
But it was interesting because I just kind of did a quick search and I was like, I really wanted to read the NPR article on this, but it was so long and well done. I was like, that's not what we need. So I grabbed somebody. I was like, not now. Exactly. But yeah, so I got an article up, but yeah, his name is Joseph Foreman. And yeah, please continue.
So again, as far as I understand it, and I don't have a very in-depth knowledge of it, but the sheriff's department in the county of Ohio he was in had apparently found or manufactured evidence that he was a huge drug narcotics dealer and was apparently involved in kidnapping people. And so they'd executed a warrant to search his property to look for drug contraband, probably money, because drugs and money go together, and then kidnapping people or stuff that you use to kidnap.
Of kidnapping, sure.
Evidence
Absolutely.
of kidnapping, right?
That was what the warrant would have said, for sure.
Yep. And so they went, knocked on the door. Of course, he wasn't home. Nobody answered. So they busted in as they're wont to do with a search warrant, and went through his fucking house. Unbeknownst to them, his security cameras are rolling. So every fucking thing that they did is captured on camera. And this is why just for anyone else there that's watching, I'm a weird guy. I'm not that weird. I'm pretty normal. But when I go into somebody else's house, I'm a contractor, right? I fix things. I'm a handyman. I go into people's houses. When I go into someone's house, I always pretend there's a camera on me and a microphone on every room. I I don't say things about the decor or the people or anything while I'm in the house. The cops should know this too. And they didn't. And they went in, they were looking at his fucking lemon pound cake. They stole money from him. They were doing all kinds of fucking shit. And he caught it all on fucking camera until they found out with the cameras on. And one of the fucking cops cut the cameras. I don't know if they actually physically cut it, but they shut off the feed to the cameras. So the cameras were no longer recording at that point, which is suspect. Because again, if you don't have anything to hide, why are you hiding it? Why are you cutting the cameras, you know? So that's the way I understand it. And of course, they didn't find anything. They had to return all of his money except for like
Mm-mm.
$400 that they
Yeah, I was
kept,
gonna say not
something
all
like
of it.
that. Yeah, not
Some of
all
it
of it.
ended up missing.
And then like every other fucking police activity, when they've done something and they don't find anything, whether they've pulled you over and searched your car, you know, under suspicion, I won't say illegally, but under false pretenses, when they've busted into your house, they're not responsible for anything. We've destroyed your car. We've thrown all your shit on the side of the road. You put it back together.
Yep.
We kicked down your door. We threw all your
Yep.
shit out. You put it back together. And that's bullshit. If I'm doing something illegal and you caught me, fair game. If, however, y'all fucked up, cops being y'all fucked up, you owe me and you should pay to have my shit put back together. Not me. It's not my
Absolutely.
fucking problem. So, and that's where we're at, and that's what the fucking sheriff's department countersued him for. And he, thank God, he wore his American suit as an American and blessed his freedom of speech and said, "No, this is bullshit. You can't do this to me, and if you can, I can do it to you." And there should be no, and it's a even back and forth. We're
Oh,
equal.
it went beyond that, and like you said, even though they had the right, they had the proper documentation, they did not find anything. So in no way, 9 times out of 10, do you get made whole from that situation. You're fucked and you're traumatized.
Yep.
It's basically where you're left.
His family was traumatized for sure.
So that's generally where you're left. But normally, you don't have 15 different camera angles of a bunch of fucking inept cops doing a bunch of fucked up shit.
Yeah.
And you're just wanting to make a music video or two out of that shit.
So good. It's so good.
So that's what he did, right? He takes the footage and he looks at what these people are doing and he assigns like names and characters to them and he creates an entire backstory and he creates an entire.
No, he didn't create the backstory. He found backstory. It was factual backstory.
Which parts? Say more.
So one of the officer's brother had some dubious sexual molestation charges pending or something.
Okay, so I would probably say that he weaved some truth and fiction in that album is what I would probably say is true, because he claimed to have had sex with the one dude's wife, and the testimony on the stand,
he didn't do that.
The guy kind of broke down and he was like, I don't know if it's true if Afroman is fucking my wife, which was like, well, you just described parody to like the nth degree, my man. I think the case is closed here. Right? So, yeah, but so he probably weaved some truth. He gave these people names, though, and he created their characters, and he created an album, and we have been through this one before, man. This shit is protected. Like at this point.
Did he include phone numbers in one of the songs or something?
No, you don't. No, you didn't have to include any personal information as far as I would know. I mean, all he had was video footage of a dude staring at a pound cake like he was about to fuck it.
Lemon pound cake.
Right on, man. But I mean, this may, in the direction that we are heading, this may be everyone's final fucking straw line in the sand. God, I hope so. Right?
No,
it's not going to be.
And talking about lines in the sand, did you see, in talking about artists and their stuff, but did you see Eminem's post? Came up across my Instagram feed today. He did something where he had said he's drawing a line in the sand. He's like, if you're one of my fans, but you're a Trump supporter, fuck you.
Off.
You don't, you're not, you don't belong to be a fan of mine.
I love Eminem, like massive respect. He's the king, like anything. And I'm just gonna have to say, it's a lot easier to do that when you're worth a couple $1 billion.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
But at the
I'm
same
not
time,
saying
he's
it's.
costing himself more billions. He's cost himself
I'm saying I get
intentionally.
it. I'm not saying it's not coming from the heart. I'm saying it's easier.
Right. Right. Yep.
Like
You
Michael
know,
Absolutely.
Jordan.
sometimes you got to be a little. Yeah, you know, we've all had to kiss the ass. You know, that feeds us.
But
They
I
used to
mean,
ask Michael
you can.
Jordan in his heyday.
Go ahead, AI. Hang on, AI's got the floor here. He wants to say
Sorry,
something.
Michael Jordan. To your point, Michael Jordan in his heyday, he's from North Carolina, and when it came time for big elections in the state, people would get onto him. Michael, why aren't you taking a stand and saying who you support? He said, Democrats buy my shoes, Republicans buy my shoes.
So I mean, you know, it was I guess that it took the jury about 3 hours to say, you know, all
Is
the
that all?
charges that was, you know, that came from, because all the charges came from the deputies, right? They claimed victim, they cried on the stand, and they're like, nope, they got nothing. I don't know if I care to really go any further to see if they had to pay for his legal fees. I hope they did. I love that he showed up in an American flag suit, even though by definition that's desecration. But so, okay, I actually had this thought earlier. Okay, is desecration a protected First Amendment free speech article?
Well, plus, and the maggots have been doing that for years now. So
I mean, a
Don't
lot of
even get me
people have done
started. I
it.
get it. Right, but I'm just saying by definition, if you're knowingly doing it and desecrating the flag, are you still protected of the free speech of what you're saying by doing it?
that's a good question.
It's
All
a,
right,
it's
he
a,
silences
it's a
the fucking
tough.
crowd.
That is a tough question. Mic drop. Boom.
I think we've got the first clip for Instagram.
Yeah. Right. Man. I don't respond to
I
that.
guess the verdict depends on what court you're taking it to. If you're taking it to the Supreme Court right now, I mean, good luck with that.
Good luck with anything right now.
Yeah.
Sure enough. Anyone want to comment on anything else inside of that, or any other current events or?
Just love everything about it. I love fucking Afroman taking a stance against the fucking sheriff's office and shit doing corrupt and holding people accountable and winning.
And
That's
I think,
amazing.
I
I just
mean,
love it.
come on. I mean, it's one of those rare instances where they fucked up. You know they fucked up. You've got all the camera angles of them fucking up, and you've probably got a lawyer that's like, yeah, I'm doing this shit for a discount and some, you know, some fame, dude. This one's going to be like so easy.
Give me some of your
Like
good
the
weed,
fact that it
and I'll
took
do
a
it.
jury in Ohio 3 hours to acquit, you know, a black man in an American flag suit. You know, I'm just going to say it. You know, I think we're all still at least on the same side there.
And I liked how proper he was in the trial. Yes, sir. Good question. That's because, and he just came with facts. Oh, yes. That's
Facts.
because such and such.
Just
Thank
the
you
way
for
it
asking.
is.
Yes, sir. Thank you for asking.
But does it also not speak to the entitlement and the attitude of the cops right now to think you could take that lawsuit up and win? You know.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
does that not say you're pretty much used to getting your own way about everything at all times, like every minute of the day, and this is very shocking to your psyche?
Mm-hmm. Huh.
Yeah.
Weird how when the shoe's on the other foot, it doesn't feel weird. You know, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good.
And now back to our regular program. AI, you were saying?
I was just going to add, on a similar note, we were texting about this before the call, how fucked up it is that ICE has been called into the airports. ICE, who is getting paid handsomely, they're being paid to stand there while the TSA agents who are not getting paid are busting their asses and doing all the work and getting bitched at. Make that make sense.
Damn near Egyptian.
Yeah.
Even though I've actually heard they never actually had to use slave labor because there was just such an abundance. People just didn't have anything to do. Says, hey, come on, we'll give you some money. So, like, anyway, yes, I get the
We'll
point.
feed you.
Like I said, you in the text you used the word metaphor. We're like, bro, it's happening. Like,
No, I
get
didn't
it.
use the word metaphor.
No, not you,
Okay.
but the person
Okay.
in the
What?
meme
Oh
used
yeah.
the word metaphor,
The post
and
did. The post did.
it's
Right.
not a it's
Sure.
not a
Yeah.
metaphor, it's an
Exactly. Yeah.
actuality.
And like, wait a minute, it's really happening. It's like, I mean,
That's
unless
our No Child
that's
Left
like
Behind school system.
now you just need to like digitally put like George Orwell's face on the ICE agent to take it to the next fucking level for me. Like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Getting a little dark around here, kids.
Fucking ice at the airports. Can't they just use some of the de-icer on the wings in the airport? Just
Well done.
Is that
spray
where
it
we're
down.
at? I was gonna comment that our views have been going up.
Hey, that's what I'm here for. I'm trying to keep us, fucking
Keep us grounded.
humble.
Yeah.
But it is funny. I was looking a little bit into the analytics because it's funny. So our last 3 episodes, and I have just recently started posting some stuff on like Instagram and Facebook, probably like within like the last week and a half, I think. So I may have only done like what 3 or 4. You think, Gronick? You've seen them. You probably
Yeah, maybe half dozen at most.
so maybe 3 or 4. So it's really only affected like the last episode or 2, right? So
Yeah.
our overall views have gone from 9 to 19 to 184 for the last episode, right? So I was like, and I even had to refresh because like the numbers were, I was like, holy shit, look at this, and most of them are YouTube. So I went on to YouTube, and YouTube has this deal. It's called YouTube Studio, where you can kind of delve into the analytics a little more, and I did, and not very much at all. But it was interesting because it was showing that 48.5% or 48.8% were viewing us from TVs. But the average view was like very, very short, like a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So I got just this absolute moment of glee thinking that people like your parents' AI were scrolling across us and getting pissed off and moving on.
When you said 3 minutes, that's the impression I got.
I was like, shit, we've done like an hour like the last couple of times, man. Maybe listen the whole way through, get the point. But then I was like, oh, it's a bunch of fucking boomers on their TV, and their YouTube TV just goes to the next thing, and they're like, what the fuck?
Skip next.
Hey, man, I'll take it. No press is bad press at this point.
Exactly.
That's
any
funny.
Any press,
Right?
whatever. And
AI,
hello to the people.
Did you have a secondary? Yeah, absolutely. Hello to anybody watching and enjoying for longer than a minute or 2.
Dude.
If you make it through the intros and these faces, you're halfway there. But AI, did you say you had a secondary subject you wanted to hit on tonight?
I'll
before we
share
talked about
a
aliens and shit.
no aliens, but I'll share a Facebook exchange I had. So I had shared a post from Norway talking about their social programs. How I'll just read here. So a hard thing to explain about social democracy is that we want our taxes to go to the undeserving. And this is from Norway. It's not because we're naive, it's because it works. Healthy people cost less. Educated people contribute more. Housed people are more stable. So the undeserving are actually pretty good investments. But the main point is that in a healthy society, there are no undeserving. There are just people. So I shared that, and I was like, it'd be awesome if we could do that, blah, 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 blah. A buddy of mine who's a lawyer, very smart guy, a friend of mine. He's a friend, not just a buddy, he's a friend of mine. He and I have healthy debates. And I was like, why can't we do this? And his response, which makes a little sense, was much easier to do in a country with only 5.5 million largely homogenous residents. And I just thought, I was like, you probably hit it right on the head with the word homogenous, because we can't do that here. Why is my money going to them? We're so much us versus them.
Currently, for sure. There's no doubt about that. It's so interesting because like right now, like I have a couple of things going on. I'm starting a business again, like going back into business for myself. again, and I can't say it went great the first time. It was a little
Exactly.
Wild West style back then. So I've got a lot of stories about money. Currently in a seminar. You guys know I do a lot of work with an organization, Landmark Worldwide. I stay pretty active in some of their seminars, and currently in the success seminar.
Right.
And I've been on a roll reading. Like, I really want to do some, I'd love to do some video book reviews here recently, because I've been on a roll with some really great books. Like Legacy of Ashes, History of the CIA was amazing. Cleansed off with a little Chuck Klosterman, the 90s. Love that dude's writing. I had to still cleanse myself, so I read Vic Legina's history of porn, called Filthy. And
Sounds
it was
like it.
wonderful
Whoa,
too.
whoa. His name is Vic Legina.
His porn name, come on, man. His porn name is Vic Legina.
That is awesome. Too many people
That is
would
us.
too many people would do the lick vagina, which is 2 on the nose. But he's like, nope, I'm gonna do the Vic. That's awesome.
One of the other best names out of the book, Bram Stoker.
Yep. Yep. That's
Right?
good. That's solid.
So the book I just started, to get to the point, but I was saying, to get to the point, the book I just started is called Sacred Economics, right? And it's about returning money to the gifting society that it came from and where it started. And I really just started this one. Like, I'm just through the intro and into chapter 1. But it literally talks about how we have created money as the ultimate separation. And we've kind of stretched it to that point, because it's all used for, money is just used for comparison and separating one class from the other, and all the dividends, all the divisions that you just spoke of, right? And so we're kind of stretched all the way out as far as we can go. So now we need to kind of reunify into a state of reunion with money. So many cultures have the same words for borrow and lend, both sides of the equation. They had tokens. That's where coins came from, and it was just, you just happen to have the token now, right? Money always circulate. It was always circular. It was always given to whoever needed it most. And just because you were giving it and you were leaving yourself wanting, that just meant that you were going to be the next one to get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So I've heard an interesting comparison, and I was listening. I was trying to find out more about sanctions and tariffs. So I listened to some economic podcasts, and I end up hearing the people on the podcast on one of them. And again, I'm trying to learn. I don't know if any of this is right or wrong. I'm just heard. He was saying that when people talk about our national debt, the debt that the U.S. has, right? And oh shit, we're getting this much. Oh shit, it's getting to this much. Oh shit, it's getting to this much. He was saying it's actually healthy to carry debt, and the debt needs to be proportional to the amount of money that you're able to pay back, potentially. Just like the credit system that we have, right? When we get a credit card, they look at our thing that it's this guy has the potential to make $50,000 a year, so he could potentially pay back this. And it's the same thing with the countries, because
countries have credit ratings.
Rothschilds. But did we hear that? It wasn't the Rothschilds. I did not say Rothschilds.
I think the feed just went down.
It did.
I actually did not hear it, so I did not.
We are no longer live.
No longer live. We're all dead. We're all dead. But the funding for a credit rating for the country is based on you have to have debt based on your income and potential and stuff. So I think kind of like what you're saying to your, what you were talking about with the money and the tokens and the debt and coming in is some point, if you're under debt, at some point you've expected to pay that debt back because you've got income. And I think it's the same thing to a point with a country where there's this debt that we're fighting is based upon, because if we're I don't know.
I don't really know that I get where you're going there, but like I don't really know that there's a lot similar to where we are now to where we would literally like to be. You know, this book, like the intro and like the little bit of the first chapter I read, you would think it was like a Bible. Like it's written like a beautiful like Buddhist scripture, like about how money used to be and the gratitude and everything. And I actually highlighted some I could actually pull them up because they copyrighted the book in a way that you could share portions of it as long as you weren't doing it for profit. And we are certainly not doing this shit for profit.
No,
What I
this
was
is
getting
all for
from what
free.
you were saying, Josh,
It's
is
for
that
you.
say that again, Chronic.
Oh, I'm not. I wasn't talking to you. AI. I was talking to the people watching. I said we're doing it for you. So it's not.
But what I was
But go
getting from
ahead.
you,
Now you can
Josh,
continue.
about the book, you were saying money is like the circle of life. Instead of the circle of life, it's the circle of money, which we don't have. We have the giving, and it gets to the uber rich, and it just goes and never comes back. It's taken out of circulation.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
That's our
get
problem.
like. Well, I'm just pulling this up now on my Kindle here. I'm not gonna get all like preachy and wordy with it, but there was certainly one passage that I highlighted, but it was no. It certainly said that since we created after biblical times, basically that convergence of like the time when Jesus was coming. It's kind of like the convergence of like when religion met business, and then everything kind of got fucked since then. you know, we might be
A belief
hopefully
system
getting
and
getting to the apex of being fucked. I don't know, whatever you
You
want to
did buy
call
a
it.
Trump Bible, though, didn't you? Surely.
Well, I got one of the early ones. It was gold plated. I'm no sucker, man. I get in early on those fucking investments.
Good, good.
yeah, the earlier the number you get on that, no matter what happens, it's going to be worth something. Yeah.
Here we.
And
You
if you
say
say here we
hair we
go,
go? That's what I thought too.
I kill myself. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, bam.
Okay, so we are going to get back into it. I have found these. I'm just going to read some of the highlights, some of the things that I've highlighted so far in this book, and it's from Sacred Economics. I'm not even pulling up the author's name right now. Fuck it, I'll find it. So the original purpose of money is simply to connect human gifts with human needs so that we might all live in greater abundance, right? So it's kind of like just lift up your neighbors. It's not meant for, separation. And separation is not an ultimate reality. It's a human projection. So we created the whole idea of separation inside of it. Money is a system of social agreements, meanings, and symbols that develops over time. It is, in a word, a story existing in social reality along with such things as laws, nations, institutions, calendar and clock time, religion and science. Stories bear tremendous creative power. Through them we coordinate human activity, focus attention and intention, define roles, and identify what is important and even what is real. Stories give meaning and purpose to life and therefore motivate action. Money is a key element of the story of capital S separation that defines civilization, right? So it's a system that was probably the main quote that I really wanted to find in here. It's like we use it for all of those things, right? Social agreements, like we've done all that stuff, and then we use it for creating this huge separation amongst the citizens that this whole system involves.
I want to be able to buy something my neighbor can't buy. I want to stand out from them. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. I mean, that's basically it's interesting because I'm just where are we at? We just did the second week of the seminar that we just started here of the success seminar, and that's literally like what we've been talking about. It's like what are your ideals? What are your definitions of success, and where do they come from? Like where do you like what do they even like come from? And nine, like they're all just comparisons, right? Like, do you consider yourself successful? In what areas do you consider yourself successful? Like, are you successful here but not successful there? Blah blah blah. Like, when then what would you rate yourself? So, but then how do you define success? And like, where did that even come from? Like, right? Like when you were 5 years old, did you want to be successful, or did you just want to go the fuck outside and play? Like, right? Yeah, you needed to, yeah, right. You didn't know you needed something that you didn't have until somebody else had it and somebody made that mean something, right? So we've created our system. Our entire system is that times a gazillion.
On top of itself, on top of itself, on top of itself,
I
right?
have
Like that's how
said
you
it
get to
before, man. Capitalism is a fucking snake eating its own tail.
Yep.
Like, it just can't work, and it certainly can't lead to any kind of happiness for the majority of the people. It's just not designed to. It's inherently not designed to in the system. So yeah.
It's designed to make your candle brighter than your neighbor's, and that fits with this quote that I have here. Blowing out another's candle won't make yours shine any brighter. It will simply make the world a little darker.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all that ever does. Look at you, all poetic and Buddhist tonight, man.
That's not my quote. I found it. So
still, like, you shared it.
Look at AI giving credit to somebody else and not taking it for itself.
Speaking of which, good segue, Chronic. Here is a good example on why you cannot just trust AI as a source of truth like everybody's doing these days. I'm looking for where I want to buy land and build a very, very, very modest home. It's not working out too well, but anyway. So I had a chat with Copilot. I said, all right, Copilot, here are the criteria that I'm looking for. Rank them and weight them according to these factors and tell me where the ideal area is for me. So one of the biggest criteria was availability of land under a certain amount of money. Good news, David. Top 2 areas it listed for me. This Lexington, Kentucky, which is where I lived, I love. Lexington, Kentucky is number 1 on my list. I'm like, wait a minute. I lived there. There is no land for anywhere less than like $200,000. And it was saying that there are plenty of tracts of land up there for $50,000. And the second place on the list, same thing. So just long story short, you can't trust AI. Use it as a resource, use it as a tool, but you can't trust it as a.
That is my thing right there, was using it as a tool, right? For sure. Like which I did recently. I had an idea for a business, a business idea. Well, inside of a business, a service to offer, right? And I started by gathering the information that I wanted, right? And then I took that information, which was, I don't know how specific I want to get here right now, because I want to implement this. So then I took all that information and I said, okay, using this information, create a 3-tiered subscription plan based on blah, 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 and blah. Which it did, and I was like, wow, that's really nice. Okay, that really works. And it even offered a few things that I wouldn't have thought of, one of which was I was like very impressed with. Okay. Asked it did to do a few other things, but added on, tweaked a few things, and then shared that with a few people. And one of those people came back with, okay, now what you have to do is send that through a different AI and tell it to like pick this apart and show you where the holes are. And I was like, fuck. Well, and fuck is kind of at the same time as what happened. To be honest with you, that's literally what happened in my brain, because
Makes
I was
sense,
like, that's clever and helpful, but does that not just lead to AI AIing itself?
I would think so, like a mirror reflecting, even though it's correcting.
Isn't the end result of that just bouncing shit back and forth at some point?
Yeah.
Because how is it going to correct the other eye? I mean, it might not, if it came up with a fake argument or a fake statistic or whatever, the response the correction could be bad. And maybe it corrects something that was correct and leaves something that was incorrect uncorrected.
Does anyone know is anyone doing an AI model that is based around the scientific method?
Who did I hear has come? My sister was telling me about one that just came out. It's like a man's name.
One of my friends really likes Claude.
That's it.
Okay. Yeah. But then some of them, now they're geared differently. Some of them are like more image and video driven. Some of them are more data research driven. but now it's everywhere because like inside of starting this new business, I'm gathering business software, right? So I've got this work management software that I can essentially use for work management and project management, like, right? Because it's totally customizable and you have AI options. Like you can tell it to create forms and you can tell it to create workspaces and you can tell it to say like, hey, if I get a lead here, create folders in my Google Drive. So there's like so many automations. And in the world of tools, I'm all for it. My biggest gripe against AI out of the gate was the language of giving credit to of the creation to the AI. I was like, nah, fuck that. That's not how I want to do this. I'm all for more, better, more efficient ways for humans to create. Like that is my key though. I don't, the languaging out of the gate was what was really throwing me off, where they were like, oh, AI created this and AI created that. And I'm like, hang on a second. People created this shit. AI is a tool. Let's keep those boundaries clear, or else we're gonna get into some real fucking trouble here real fast.
AI stitched it together maybe and pulled this and that and but it's a Frankenstein's monster.
At this point, I am at that perfect age though, where I could just like memorize that Rucker Hauer monologue from the end of Blade Runner. I've seen the sunset on. Oh, if you guys don't know that one, you're just gonna have to watch the movie. Like, come on, you got to see that.
I can't remember it. Yeah.
How's things going with you and the cat, man? How's it rock?
Are you sleeping?
How's it going?
Fantastic. I had all of her fucking female organs ripped out at the vet, and
she calmed down a little bit.
It's been quiet ever since.
Now that bitch knows her place.
God love this little fucking cat. She's fucking. I had, just for people that are like, you bitch, that I got it in fucking January, and until I had it spayed in fucking 2 weeks ago, so it's for 310, 14 days ago. It was in heat for like 80% of that time, meowing and keeping me up all night. So I was glad to have it spayed. I don't actually mean any pain or agony to the animal and stuff, but I'm just glad to have it spayed. And since then, it's been fantastic. I've let it outside. I've given it its flea medicine on the back of its neck. It goes outside when it wants. It comes inside when it wants. I give it cans of soft food. It cuddles up with me in the morning on my chest. That's actually kind of fun. When it just kind of purr and purrs and stuff. So yeah, it's going good now. I like it. But
nice. So, all right. So now I guess we're going to talk about aliens and shit. But or however you want to language that. I am just going to recount this experience from my point of view. Chronic, you are allowed to pause me to disagree or recreate anything you like while I'm telling it.
No, I'm gonna let you roll.
You're here to kind of mediate this situation.
Okay. I hereby call this hearing into order.
This is not a debate by any stretch.
No, not at all.
That's actually part of my point. That's actually part of my point.
There's an alien cat right here, though.
Exactly. All fucking cats are aliens.
We need a name instead of just cat. We need a name. What's the cat's name?
Catalina Dumas.
Okay.
Cat for sure.
Catalina
Dumas, like Catalina Dumas. So my dad, I don't know, maybe I told you, but my dad, when I got, because it's a rescue cat, picked it up from my family's farm in Ohio. My dad called it a dumbass cat, which is, I don't care. She's kind of fucking dumb. I hate her. But my mom hated that he called her a dumbass. So one time I told my dad, there's an old commercial, if you remember it, I think it was Geico maybe, but there's a guy going into, I'm real dumbass material. You can count on me. I'm a real dumbass. And the boss or whoever's interviewing him is sitting behind the desk and he goes, the name's Dumas. Yeah, Dumas.
But I also have to cut in at this point and remind the audience here AI. I'm sorry, I will cut that out. You probably don't know. Chronic had a dog for a long time, and it was the greatest dog who ever lived. Like Jeddah, was my secret girlfriend. Like every time I saw her, she made me feel like I was the only one. Like she was a real good slut like that.
The best.
And just a great dog.
She
like,
was.
everybody loved her. She went hiking. She went camping. Like, that dog, like, did it, right? And he was, like, the greatest dog dad for her and all that, right? And now he's in the world of cat ownership, and he's like, fuck this motherfucker. And that is like exactly the difference between dogs and cats. Like, this motherfucker can eat a dick. I don't care. Fuck you. Hope you fucking die. And the cat just looks back at you like, I hope you fucking die too, bitch. Like, and then everyone goes about their day.
Yep. Man. Yep. Yep.
He's like, I know where you sleep. I'll fucking eat your eyeballs when you die. Fuck off.
Yeah.
I think I may have told you this, but I'd moved up to Michigan for a girlfriend who had 2 young
I
boys.
remember when you did that.
There you go. Yep. No, she was, let's
I don't
see,
know if it's
down.
backwards. It's this way. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't know how it would
She was
appear on the
down. She
screen.
wasn't, no UP. She was lower. But she had 2 young sons. And the older one was like 5 or 6. He and I got to be big buds. And they had a golden retriever. And the boy had a big heart, loving little kid. And one day he said, Mom, I forget the dog's name. Mom, I wish the dog would die so we could get a cat.
Should have gotten rid of that kid.
He didn't mean it that way. He just meant I wish we could get a cat, but I guess she had told him we can't get a cat.
Only one. We only have one at a time.
There can only be
Well,
one.
that's a dangerous thing to tell a kid because, pets go missing all the time.
Yeah.
They do.
You're about to find out if you got a little serial killer on your hands. They just keep wanting bigger and bigger pets that keep disappearing every 3 months. That's funny.
That's a problem.
This
Yes,
motherfucker
gotta
dies,
keep an eye on that one.
right?
No, he's a
Exactly.
good egg. He turned out well.
Nice. So here is the
aliens?
retelling. Yeah. This is the retelling of this story from my point of view. And yeah, that's pretty much all it is. I'm just gonna give it to you straight at this point. So inside of our group chats and whatnot, and I don't know if you mentioned this on the podcast, Chronic. You had talked about this scientist, researcher who had discovered these giant structures under the pyramids, or I would at least say claim to. Right.
Yep.
And then at one point and I said, okay. And then at one point you posted a 4 fucking hour YouTube video to our group chat. And I said, what the fuck? And then I was like, all right, I'm up for it. So I'm gonna sit down. I had some time. I didn't have 4 hours, but I had an hour or two to like really to check it out. And all I want to do is I'm just gonna tell you exactly how I felt pretty much minute by minute. Because I didn't last a lot of minutes.
I was just say that it'd be a lot of minutes, so you know it's not the whole 4 hours.
I don't remember this person's name offhand. If you do, feel free to give him a recognition. The guy who made these scientific claims. I don't have it in front of me. I didn't really prepare. But do you know his name off the top?
It
have the book,
starts with an F and a B. It's like Fabiano Bianchi. Or something. He's an Italian name.
So I really don't know a lot of the names in this story because, man, I don't do any kind of homework. So anyways, claiming that there's these structures under the pyramids. And then there's a second person who's this Viking-looking dude who has visited a lot of the pyramid sites, and he has a lot of his own opinions and research.
Who I do not
on.
know. Yeah,
okay.
Who I do not know. And
a podcaster brought these two people together for a 4 fucking hour discussion.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm gonna let that part of the story go. Apparently it's still affecting me. So I sat down and I turned it on. I listened, and I'm listening, and he's talking about the sonar technology that he was using, and it's essentially my first thing was like, oh my god, there's a lot of big words. Okay, it's a lot of big words. That's a little bit of a red flag for me sometimes. So I'm gonna throw that out there. What I gathered from the guy and from what he was saying, and then a little bit more, was there's tons of fucking satellites in space just gathering shit tons like of data off of this planet at every microsecond, right? Anything you can imagine and shit tons you cannot imagine. And there's some advanced type of sonar that they do with a bunch of satellites, and they can get readings from satellites that are basically like sonar. That's kind of what I gathered.
Yeah, basically, yep.
Second
Yeah,
red flag came very quickly, very early in the video. This gentleman, the scientist, saying he's taking the data from the satellites and he's running it through his proprietary software that only he has, and no one else has this on the planet. And then he is giving his interpretations through his software to the world. That was a huge red flag for me.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
That was a huge red flag because it doesn't follow any kind of scientific rigor, to be clear. So then I listened to some of the Viking dude, and he was talking about the structures of the pyramids and a lot of the way the water flowed in that area and a lot of what types of water was in different places. And he mentioned an aqueduct or an aquifer of some type of partially salty salinated water. I can't remember exactly what the word, brackish water. Yes, there you go. There it is.
Yeah.
Brackish water. It's like partially salty, right? And it was in this chamber. And they started talking about how like the water was feeding things, and literally 20 minutes in, I was like, okay, I have got so many questions. I have to pause. And I have to find another viewpoint of this, right? Because right now I'm a little baffled by bullshit. I'm overwhelmed by big words. And the claim that I should only trust the data that's coming out of the software that only you have is a humongous red flag to me. It's where I'm at. So I go online, and I'm just kind of, all I ever do whenever I search something like that is I'll just put the person's name, or I'll put the claim, and I'll just add debunked, and I'll see what comes up. And over the years, I have had like some trusted, I would call them trusted because they're they've built up a reputation. They have, what's the word I'm looking for? They built up a reputation. They with me because they God, I just totally blanked on the word. They say things and then they turn out to be true, right? Quackwatch is one, factcheck.org. I go to Snopes.com. I listen to the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe podcast for a lot of years. I always loved those guys. So I came across, there was several different results, right? Certainly it's Google. So there was all the results and everything. And I was just scrolling, and I saw one that it actually said more than it was. It said a bunch of things, but it turned out to really just be Michael Shermer on Piers Morgan. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Piers Morgan, to be honest with you. Michael Shermer, I haven't heard about from years. For me, he is kind of like a Dr. Agus of the scientific community. I've read his magazine, Skeptic Magazine, like sporadically over the years. I remember reading about like when steroids were a big thing with the Lance Armstrong scandal. He was like, well, this blood doping's been going on in, cycling in Europe for years. Since the 70s. This is nothing new. And so I just had it that he was kind of an innocuous, trusted source in the scientific community, and it was just, and I also looked, checked a few other things about that sonar just to kind of get an overview. And the general consensus that I was getting back from that was that technology is not really reliable to do deep scans. Okay, that was kind of the consensus. I didn't do any quote unquote fucking research. I didn't write in a fucking paper. I clicked a couple of links, right? I will also note that inside of the part of the podcast that I listened to, they talked about a scientist named Dibby or something like that, who was a detractor of what they were talking about. And they really like quickly just dismissed him with an eye roll. All three of them just dismissed him, which I was like, what? I didn't, I just kind of noted it, but I saw when I was looking at my results that he was one of them, and I didn't want to read his. I was like, okay, I'm not going to read, I'm going to find something else. Okay. So that's where I was at. I don't even remember what started, like how I even got the text conversation started in the thread. But my experience of it was the minute I mentioned Michael Shermer, Chronic, you went a little aggro. And I was like, okay, so I'm not quite done yet. So
that wasn't to
I was
you,
like,
of course. That was
I know.
Shermer.
You can do that anytime you want. But anyway,
That's
I was like,
I don't know him, so
I had to be like, this aggression will not stand, man. Like first of all, and then I just like moaned. I was like, whoa! I was so taken aback because it's been so many years since my hard drinking, hard debating days like that, where I was immediately like, fuck yeah, let's go. Those days are so over. So I talked to Dawn about it. I kicked it around a while. I was like, what the hell was that? And I did respond. I was like, I get that, I'm just going to kind of paraphrase our conversation, and you correct anything that you think is inaccurate. But I kind of was like, well, bro, if you're going to put the whole of the scientific community on notice, because you also mentioned that peer reviewed scientific studies were a pay for play scheme. And so I was like immediately on, I felt, all right. I felt like I was like debating a Trumper at that point, because I was like immediately like, fucking, there's a rattlesnake in my face. Like, what the fuck just happened? And there was a little bit more to it, this and that. And then, but I was like, a day or two later, I was like, there is no chance that I'm ever going to have a conversation at that level again. So, especially with you, right? So I was like, we're just going to have to figure out a different way to do this. So that is and I'm willing to watch more of the video, but that is where I am in the conversation.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, like, I mean, I wasn't trying to be like attacking you, but seriously, fuck Shermer.
So okay, there were a few other things in my head. Go ahead.
No, you.
Because I was like, the one thing that came, like, when it really surprised me, because like the video that I watched with Shermer and Pierce Morgan, he started it out by saying, by all means, if you have the evidence, present it. And he made all those disclaimers like right out of the gate. And he also said, like, he quoted Sagan, spectacular claims require extraordinary evidence, however that claim goes, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of triggered like my immediate response to like conspiracy theorists is like, my God, man, like, first of all, like, we have this romantic notion of the pyramids. We always have. They have this special place in our worldwide psyche. I don't get, whatever. Scientists love nothing more than to study shit. That's all they fucking do. They're just a bunch of they would love nothing more than for the conspiracy theories or the I don't even want to, I feel like that's a little bit of a raw deal for your guys to call them that, to be honest with you. I'm just going to say claims that haven't been fleshed out or whatever you want to say, they would love to study it, So that's kind of always like my like counter to the whole nobody wants you to know the truth argument,
Right. Well, okay. So first of all, my fuck Shermer comment is specifically related to this argument. I have no idea what else Shermer is skeptical of. No idea.
Okay.
No idea. It's specifically related to this topic. And when you've listened to 20 minutes of 1 4-hour thing about this, I've listened to half a dozen to a dozen podcasts of all lengths relating to this topic, relating specifically to this topic, hours outside that touch on this subject. I'm not an expert. I've heard people that talk bullshit. I've heard people that fucking make decent sense. I've heard people that are fucking like the stupid fucking mohawked hair dude on the Ancient Aliens program that we all see, Ancient Aliens on History Channel, the dude,
I love that
weird
show.
suntan.
Oh,
Yeah. I can't remember his name, but and I love him. I'm not talking shit about the dude. I look stupid with my long hair and my fucking gray beard. But I don't know. He's a character for the show. He does well for the show, but he's on Ancient Aliens. Anyway, um, so I'm no expert. I've listened to a lot of these podcasts. I'm not trying to prove one thing one way or the other. I don't believe that any one of these things is true or isn't true. What I do, and I'm not going to say believe, my idea or whatever, right? We talk about beliefs and stuff. My idea, my current thought, right? My current thought on things is that there's always a narrative. There's always a narrative. And who fucking knows what the narratives are, right? I don't know what the narratives are, but the narrative that we're given about Egypt, that the pyramids were built 3,000 to 4,000 years before the Common Era, and that this happened, and that human progress is always positive. The people behind us were always worse than we are, and we are always better than the people behind us. Who's to say what's better or not?
But
They may have had
isn't that just one view of the whole human experience though? Like, I mean, it just sounds like you're putting like the pyramids inside of one specific way to view the world. Because if you're talking about like, I get what, like planets could regenerate. I can see that, but do you get what I'm saying?
I mean, maybe I hadn't made my point yet.
Okay, I'm
I
sorry.
guess I don't. I guess my point being is like there's an assumption in a narrative that we have to have gone from better or from worse to better. We had to have gone from dumber to smarter. We're always going in that direction. When you disagree, that's fine. And that's fine. I mean, so when you look at all these pyramid stories, the oldest pyramids, the periods that were supposed to be built the oldest period, they're built the best with the most precision. And everything else after that goes downhill in precision, quality, everything. That's kind of the same thing. It's not like going from 2000 to 2020 where you're like, well, shit, nothing now lasts 5 years. It's like going from a Tesla to a Model T in that direction. And that's not the way we see technology go. Even in the Industrial Revolution here in the United States or in the world over, technology gets better. It starts not as good and it always gets better. The pyramids did not go that way. Every structure in Egypt, according to the timeline established by Zahi Hawass, they say the established timeline, the way things happened are we started with these great historical, precise structures, precisely lined up with the Nile River being the Milky Way galaxy, the Giza, Khafra's, and whatever those three pyramids right there, precisely lined up to stars. And if you process the skies back to 10, 12,000 years ago, they're precisely lined up to where those constellations were with the Milky Way on the planet. It's that scientific fact. It's proven. There's no doubt about that. Why? I don't know where I was going with that. Fucking stoning and being stoned and beer.
Well, my question to that is like, so what? Like, you could line up pyramids with any 4 or 5 stars if you wanted to. Like, there's a lot of stars up there.
Not with the precision that they did with the technologies that they were supposed to have back then. We can't do that now with the stuff that we have to the precision that they could. And they were doing it back then with strong. Now, again, I'm not saying maybe that is the way they did it back then. I don't know. But so now hold on a second.
I'm not saying anything.
Now, we were talking about Christopher Dunn last time on the podcast, right? Christopher Dunn. He has some theories about the pyramids, which I don't know if they're true or not. But so you talked about there was big words and unknown concepts to you. And I'm not trying to preach or talk to any of you. When I hear a lot of these concepts, especially when you're in the Christopher Dunn podcast, everything that he talks about is stuff that was taught to me in my mechanical engineering classes. All these terms about run out, lathing, machining, the hardness, the feed rate, all the concepts in the Christopher Dunn podcast that he was talking about through the 4-hour podcast that I listened to, all of those made sense to me. None of it was like, what is that? What is he talking about? I got to go find it. All of it made sense. Not necessarily that like the Giza pyramid was a power plant. That didn't quite make sense. But the way he came about those ideas made sense to me. He was finding logical evidence. He went and found core samples that have been found in the quarries, and the core samples have tooling marks that are one continuous tooling spiral around the core. They have a feed rate of 1/8 of an inch, 125 thousandth of an inch. With each turn of revolution of the bit, they're removing 1/8 of an inch of material. You're a carpenter, Josh. You've done boring with wood bits and stuff. It's easier to bore in soft SPF versus yellow pine versus oak versus walnut versus ipe, right? If you're using depending on which bit you're using, you can only go so deep in the wood at such a rate, or else you're going to burn up your bit. You're going to break stuff. He has cores that he's measured that have a continuous spiral of 1/8 of an inch per revolution of feed rate in some type of granite. It's not metamorphic, it's the volcanic rock. If you call a granite manufacturer, someone that bores granite and does a lot of granite, what their feed rate is somewhere around the rate of 2,000th of an inch per revolution. The Egyptians that were making cores with 125 thousandths of an inch per one revolution. And today, with our best technology, we're making passes at 2,000th of an inch per revolution. That is insane. That doesn't make any sense. And again, what does it prove? It doesn't necessarily prove anything, except they were using something that was incredibly effective that we have no idea how they were doing it. If you look at, they have these vases that they've built, that they've constructed, they've recovered from Egypt, these vases that have been made, that have been turned. They're shown to have turn marks from a lathe. Again, the same marks that if you look at something that is turned today, if I look around here, I have something I made in one of my mechanical classes. We had to turn metal. It is the same turn marks, except mine looks like shit because I'm a fucking student. You're right. But these vases have they have centering marks. You know what a centering mark is? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Do you know what
on
centering
the
marks
lathe.
are?
Right. Yeah,
On a lathe, right? So they have those. I'm not, and again, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be condescending, but I'm just asking if you know what a centering mark is, because if you don't, I can't continue. So they have centering marks on these vases. Seriously, I'm sorry, seriously, right? They have centering marks on these vases that were made that have a precision tolerance to greater than not all, but some of the parts that are in the planes that are flying around the world today. Like tolerance, talk to any engineer, talk to any processing engineer that you know. I've taken these classes, I've taken metrology about measuring this stuff. That's why these things don't sound. I know about runout, I know about concentricity, where you're trying to keep things in tolerance with, planes, in multi-axes and stuff. That's what they're talking about. These vases are not perfect, because nothing is perfect, but in manufacturing terms, in manufacturing quality, they're about as perfect as you can get. Made back in. That's right. There you go. Okay. So here's what you do with it. And this is my response to this. Okay. So you said extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof, right? And that's fantastic. I love that.
They
That
also
is
have to be replicatable too. They do have to be replicatable.
I know. Hold on a second. Let me finish, please. They have to be replicatable. Absolutely. I agree to this. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. This is my problem with Michael Shermer. He is the same, and I've not listened to any of those debates, like I said, but I have listened to him debate these topics, which, like I just went over, I know what these terms mean. I know what these people are talking about. This is not unknown to me. These terms make sense. So when they talk about it, I understand what they're saying. So when they get to debate Shermer and they have a valid reason to say, hey, I see these cores that were done and they've got this feed rate. We can't do that nowadays. Does that not does that not maybe want you to look deeper into something that's happened? In
Well,
Shermer's,
oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I thought that was only
hold
my
on,
question.
hold
Did he
on.
respond? I just wanted to know if he responded.
And Shermer's response to it is very much like an evangelical when you ask him about the belief of God. He says, the Egyptians built the pyramids 4,000 years ago. Their technology was copper and sand, people and ramps. That's all they could do. We know it. It's a fact. Your argument holds no water. That's almost verbatim his response, which to me, my response is he has maybe not proof for his extraordinary claim, but he has extraordinary evidence for his claim. And by you saying, no, that doesn't exist, they had copper and sand and a lot of people with a lot of time on their hands, we don't need to investigate. That, specifically that right there is my problem. They should investigate it because there are extraordinary evidence and they don't have proof, and people are standing in the way of us getting or disproving the proof.
But
It may be
so okay,
disproving.
but
I could be wrong, but they're not even looking.
well, I'm sorry that I happened to pick the one clip that included Michael Shermer, but he does not. He is not the end all be all of the scientific community because that's how it works, right? So other people could. He is not the only person to take this to. So have they taken this evidence to people to be replicated? That is one question that I have, and then I will make a second point, and it's kind of in the world of like climate science or things like that, right? So if 97% of the climate scientist community, however you want to measure that, agrees that climate change is real and 3% don't, I don't think the 3% should get equal 50-50 footing in the debate and in the conversation. I think they should get 3 fucking percent. So that's just a personal, thing there. So, but
I mean,
like I said, Michael Shermer's not the end all be all of science. He is one guy who has a magazine and he gets on TV and shit a lot. So, and he's been around for a long time. He was just one of my go-tos, and I'm sorry that it caused such a reaction.
I mean, it's 97% of the people at one time believed the earth was flat and 3% didn't.
So we're
Okay,
down to
but
99% now.
we also but we did not. Did we have the scientific method then?
We developed it at that point.
We developed it, so that's why these things. Like I said, I have a hard time believing in the whole.
Again, the point being, like, it's the whole scientific, and you're absolutely right. The scientific theory is there for a reason, but it's changing, and it's used the term evolving, which just it's changing the whole time. It does change, and like I said, I don't think I'm right about this. And if you listen to Christopher Dunn's interviews and read his books, he doesn't say, I believe. He's not an evangelical that says, I believe this is what happened. What he's saying is, look at the evidence I found. Why don't we investigate further?
Well, and for
no
me,
one
I
does.
feel like there's a reason it's not being investigated, because I feel like scientists would be chomping at the bit to investigate it if if it intrigued their fields, and there's a shit ton of fields that involves. So, I mean,
Do you know how hard? Do you know how hard it is? Have you looked into? Do you know how easy is it to get a permit to do anything in Egypt to the
oh, I'm
pyramids?
not talking like, but it would be bigger in the mess. It would be all over the place, like inside of the science. Why can we not study Egypt? Like, it would just be a bigger story in the scientific community. And then you go to that next level of conspiracy where you say, well, they won't let us do it. And that's like, so
No,
much of the narrative that is like, it follows the conspiracy theorist playbook for me.
look, dude, I don't fucking think it's like the Giza pyramid power plant thing. Like, I'm not married to it. Like, fucking, it's a Christ on the cross that's going to save my sins.
No,
I
no,
do
no,
think
not at
it's an
all.
interesting thing to like if I had, again, if I was Elon Musk where I would be putting my money is into the pyramids of Egypt. That's where I'd be putting my stupid millionaire, billionaire fucking money is in Egypt. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying the world needs to. It's going to save humanity. It's not at all. I'm just saying, like, that's where I'd put my stupid billionaire money into. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. I just tend to be like an Occam's razor kind of philosopher where
That's exactly what I was getting ready to say.
the simplest explanation tends to be the easiest one. And I don't find the pyramids to ever be that extraordinary. Like, because I see these posters like, well, you had pyramids here in Egypt, you had pyramids in Peru. Well, if you're like 3 years old and you dump dirt on the ground, it kind of forms a pyramid. Like, so like, I don't,
Yeah, no.
I'm just saying, like, if you shovel dirt into the same pile, it resembles a pyramid. Like, that's just like, it's not like any kind of complex structure. I get there's a lot going on underground.
But how often do you put dirt piles in piles that are shaped so perfectly that you can't fit a paper between the joints?
So here's another thing
that you randomly stacked a pile of dirt, randomly precisely stacked 3 piles of dirt next to a river in the precise orientation of a astronomical sign that we can see. Randomly. It happens.
My question
Monkeys
is,
are we typewriter against Shakespeare? It's randomly.
Are we assuming their intentionality, though? Are we assuming their intentionality?
Yeah.
Are we assuming? No.
I'm saying I am assuming.
So what are you assuming that why they did it then?
So like you're saying people back then had nothing else better to do on their time.
No. Let me make sure I want to make sure I'm perfectly clear on this. Are we assuming that they built them the way they built them for the reason we're assuming? Like I'm kind of like, are we looking through it through our eyes instead of their eyes? Is kind of what I'm saying. That's all I'm asking. Because like we've studied a flower based on how we see it, and only in the last couple of years do we know how a bee actually sees it. Like, right? So are we assuming everything over there through our eyes and not their eyes?
The only thing I'm assuming is that they knew what they were doing when they put it where they put it. For the reason, I know not why. And I was going to make a point about it before you interrupted me, but
I'm sorry.
That's just fine, which is because you made a good point. But my only assumption here is that they put them where they put them for a reason. I don't know the reason, but they did have a reason to put them exactly where they put them. That I will guarantee. I don't know what the reason is.
No, okay,
know.
so, but what?
And it's religious, though. Could be religious. Yeah, could be religious.
But what do you say about like my thoughts watching that podcast where, the gentleman is saying only I can give you the answer? Like,
he didn't say, I didn't hear he only could give you the answer.
He had the only software. He is interpreting the software through that is clear as day in that podcast.
His software, SARS software is synthetic aperture radar, is not proprietary to him. It is used by a whole bunch of people. You can find it all over the place. The Sandia National Laboratories.
I am going to watch that first 20 minutes again because I am almost positive that it was very clear that this was not.
He's Italian. Could you understand him clearly? I couldn't.
It was subtitled. But all I'm saying is if you don't release your data, no, you're not even in science yet. If you're not willing to share it, and I get the corporations and they all make money and blah, blah, blah. There's all kinds of patents and shit, but you can make claims, but until other people are allowed to poke holes at your shit,
that's a solid point. I didn't, that's 100%.
And
right.
that, like I said, that was that was the biggest red flag for me in 20 minutes. I'll happily rewatch that and tag the part that I'm talking about. And if I'm wrong, I will say so, but I was pretty sure that was very clear inside of that.
No, I could be wrong.
And no problem.
I probably am.
We will wrap this up because there are three people out there that are bored out of their fucking minds right now.
You're not wrapping it up yet because I haven't said a word yet.
Right.
Oh, I was wrapping it up. I was going to you next because I wanted to know what the hell you had to say about it.
So here's where I thought you were going to go with Occam's razor, which is where I was going to go, which is more logical that the people that built the pyramids, if we're saying it was people, which this person is not saying it was people. If we're saying that the people who built the pyramids back then were so much smarter and had so much more technology and it declined, is that more logical, or is it more logical that the mothership gave all the information and the tools? Just something to think about.
And
But
well,
see, like,
keep in
and
mind
the
the pyramids were
point
built
about the
around the
whole.
Sphinx.
Go ahead. Let's say go ahead.
The technology, the way we think of it today, doesn't have to be the technology that they had back then. They didn't necessarily have to have iPhones, iPads, whatever.
Right?
I don't know what the technology was. Again, I don't necessarily think this is all true or not. However, we know for a fact that we had a cataclysmic event 12,000 years ago, a huge 2-mile thick glacier that covered the North Atlantic, continent, 2 miles thick, melted within a short span, geographically changed the planet huge. After the brief events that we've had in Helene here, where we had 2 days of rain from a stupid fucking hurricane and the way it changed the planet, just this brief little small tiny area. If we had 12,000 years ago, if we had a 2 mile, again, a technology in an advanced society 12,000 years ago, might have been like 30 million people, whatever, the entire planet over, not huge by today's standards, right? But before what we were thinking back, like when there was only hunters and gatherers running around, which today we have hunters and gatherers and advanced societies. You look at Africa, look at Australia, look at South America. We have plenty of Aboriginal backwoods cultures that are living right next to up-to-date cultures. So it's very possible that 12,000, whatever, fucking how many years ago, we had a sort of advanced culture and it got fucking wiped out by this incredible devastation thing. And it was only a few of them. And the only people that survived were the hunters and gatherers and the people that didn't need technology to survive. And they're the only ones that did survive, except for maybe a couple. And then we get these weird, stupid religious stories in these books about things and and nothing makes sense. And we find these structures that are this old nowadays. They said, I don't know. I just would like a little bit more effort into figuring out, and not a lot, because it probably doesn't make a difference to where we're fucking going in the future, but maybe it does. And we don't know if we don't look.
But I
We
don't
maybe don't need
think
to put
it's going to
100%
happen.
of our resources there, but
I don't think it's
I'm
going to
interested.
happen because the pyramids are so protected, similar to how our Area 57 is so protected. There's just so much there that we're not letting you guys touch it. We're owning all this information ourselves. Hands off.
Lizard people. I don't know. I'm fucking stupid.
My other point was when you said like technology always goes up, like I'm more open to believing that like a planet had a life may have had more than one life cycle. Like where I'm like,
Right?
no, I
Yeah.
don't think it always does go up. I feel like there could be some buried shit like underneath there, right?
That's how our
absolutely.
fossils get here. We just haven't found.
This world is 70% water, and we've only we haven't touched but like 10% of the 70% at this point. So maybe before it gets all gets filled with oil, we can maybe research a little bit of it.
Well, if we got rid of this fucking supposed democratic climate, global warming shit that we have,
well, if we
and
can
we
just
did
melt
all those
everything
glaciers back, the sea levels would drop, and we would find all those things on the fucking seafloor that got flooded. Maybe we'd find Atlantis.
Wait a minute. I thought we were going the other way, and we were just going straight water world.
No, I'm saying if the opposite happened, if we quit that and we started getting glaciers again, then the seas would shrink and sea level would lower with the rise of glaciers, and then we would have more sea bed exposed, and we could find the Atlantises and the things on the seafloor or whatever as the seabed went down, yada yada.
So here's a serious question to see if you guys know the answer. I do not. It's a question I'd love to know.
The answer is B.
B?
D.
Okay.
C.
So we have all these mountain rivers. The rivers empty into the oceans. I know the oceans evaporate, but is it so perfectly synced that the water coming into the ocean and the water evaporating is perfectly synchronized? Or what keeps the oceans from rising because of all the rivers emptying into it?
Oh, I think I know the answer to this one.
Awesome.
Yo,
I think they used to be called.
It's not B.
I think we used to call them seasons. And like they used to replenish themselves on like a cyclical cycle, like it was lasted about a year or so. And everything was in this beautiful fucking harmony. You could call it like a Garden of Eden kind of situation if you wanted to. And then these little fucking hairy little like apes lost their hair. And then they started wearing fucking clothes. And then they fucking invented guns, and it's been goddamn downhill since then. Anything else you need to know about history? Did that pretty much cover it for you?
No, not at all.
What was the original question?
Yeah, thank you. So the original question was all the water that's coming into the oceans from the rivers empties into the ocean.
Yeah.
What keeps the ocean levels from rising? Is it that the water
I thought I made that
evaporates from
point
the
inside
ocean?
of there. Did we not say evaporation? No, there's like a cycle-y thing. Like it was a little picture in my third grade by like
I'm
book.
saying, is it
like,
perfectly
science.
synced? So the same amount
Well,
evaporates
it used
that comes
to be.
in? Okay. That's what you were trying to say? Okay.
And then we fucked it all up. And now we get 100-year fucking floods every 5 years in North Carolina. Like, are you shitting me? The coast is
Fucking
eroding, but
devastating.
no one's allowed to say it.
I've seen it. Beach houses just fucking falling away.
And people don't do fucking psychedelic drugs? I don't get it.
Why?
I don't know why. That's how, like, when I meet people that don't smoke weed, I'm like, why would you not smoke weed? Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And then I just have to
What do
get
you do
like,
with your life?
I guess it's not for everybody. And I'm like, oh, I'm sad for you now.
You know why I don't? Got that addiction issue.
Can't be addicted to weed, man.
Yeah, like that's the cure for addiction. Jesus.
I'm teasing. I tease. To anyone out there suffering with addictions, it's tough.
Only
They're
psychologically. You cannot be physically addicted to weed. Only psychologically. You can be physically addicted to cocaine. Like a mofo.
I was thinking of Half Baked with Bob Saget.
Yeah.
It was like dick for weed.
Dick for weed.
Bob Saget was in Half Baked?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Bob Saget was one of the filthiest fucking stand-ups you would ever hear in your life. His stand-ups were raw. I mean, I didn't like it because I just couldn't put that face with that fucking those words,
weird, man.
It just
Yeah.
didn't.
I saw him in
me.
Charlotte.
You
I
did?
saw him in Charlotte live. Yeah, it was
I bet
fucking
there
wild,
were some,
man.
I bet there were some Karens in the crowd that fucking walked out that night.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
Doesn't he usually
love
open
getting-
a show by saying, "Hey, look, if you're expecting the Full House guy, go ahead and leave now." Doesn't he do that?
Used to. He
Yeah.
died 2 or 3 years ago, but yeah.
Yeah, he used to. Yeah, I think he said that. I could be maybe superimposing that in my memory, but I thought he said that. It was hilarious. I laughed the entire time. It was filthy and great. And it's so fast. He was just bam, 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 bam. You'd almost not laugh at some of the jokes because you were thinking of the one before, and you'd miss a couple of them, and then laugh at the third one or whatever.
He was one of those comedians that would also stack his punchlines. It was a joke on top of a joke, and it would just get better with every line too for 3 or 4. And you're like, God damn,
yeah,
like that's impressive writing right there. Is what that is.
it was. He's great. He was great.
Well, we all survived the alien pyramid segment of the podcast.
Just barely,
anything?
but we did.
Anything you want to say to wrap up, or like any thoughts on the whole exchange, or the like? Because I refuse at this point. Like I kind of refuse to do debate, like and I certainly won't do argument. But I'm happy to have fucking conversations about anything.
Let's do one thing. It might not have been clear from the beginning. Let's do
the Illuminati's about to shut this shit down. So hang on a second.
So not debating, but let's do one thing and give a summary that you can edit in and put at the beginning of that segment to introduce a little bit more about what it was about. Because I felt like we were talking about it, and people trying to figure it out as they were going.
Sure. Like I would actually say, like, I will happily like post both the links in this episode's deal, like the link to the video the Chronic sent, and then the link to the one, the video that I send. Sure, I'd be happy to hear what anybody thinks about this. And yeah, like, look, I'm never against research. Like, that's like, I'm never going to be opposed to looking into shit. But I will say, I won't get into that whole fucking Joe Rogan, I'm just asking questions bullshit, because that's a dangerous fucking slope to go down there for me. Like, you know, I do have some rigor. You know, I do have some, you know, I just told you where my red flags came up. Like, I heard this and I was like, you know, I've got, you know, I hear certain things and you know, I was like, okay, I'm not willing to listen to 3.5 more hours of this without doing a little bit of side research or side checking out. I fucking hate
Fair
the goddamn
enough.
word research. On a lighter note, we're getting close to fucking hockey playoff time.
Yeah.
My Penguins are falling fast.
Shit.
They
Not doing
they
good.
lost 5-1 to the Hurricanes, who are the first place team. The Penguins were second, but the Penguins may have slipped. Penguins are playing tonight, and when I checked, they were losing 5-1 when we started this podcast. So I might actually have an updated score on
Oh,
that.
that's not good. That's a hard deficit to overcome.
They lost 6-2, so they got another one. But that was against Colorado, so
Yeah.
right now they're not beating good teams, so they might not be going into the playoffs. Are the Wings
Well,
going?
I don't know.
I was going to ask if they're
you know-
back into relevance. Seemed like they hadn't been the past couple of years.
They hadn't. They were in that with the Penguins trying to like sniff a wild card, I think.
Yeah, they haven't. They were on a little bit of a tear for a bit, but that was weeks ago. Where are we here? 38, 25, and 8. No, I don't believe we're going anywhere.
Yeah, you're not making the playoffs.
No.
With a winning record, you're not going to get in the playoffs?
I don't think
Oh,
so.
Really?
They had almost as many. When you include the ties, it's about 500, right?
Right?
A little
Yeah.
under, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. No, you're right. Yeah.
So I just got breaking news.
Breaking news.
Since we're talking about sports, I'm a Tar Heel. There's been a lot of debate about whether the men's basketball coach, Hubert Davis, is going to be fired. Is he not? He was just fired.
He was just fired.
If you did not see his press conference after their defeat in the first round of the NCAA tournament, you'll say,
who did they lose to in the first
fired.
round?
First round, VCU, 11 seed against a 6 seed. They had a 15-point lead, I think, and maybe 18-point lead, and relinquished it.
Damn.
Yeah.
Fucking
Now,
fired
granted, they were
everybody.
doing it without their superstar. They were doing it without their superstar, who's might be the first overall draft pick, but still. You have an 18-point
Who's that?
lead.
That's that. Who's their big guy?
Caleb Wilson.
That's it. Okay. Who do you think who's looking strong in the tournament? I love, like, I'm not a huge basketball fan, but I love the tournament. I find the tournament to be the most democratic event in all of sports. All you got to do is win. Like, all you got to do is win.
Just don't ask me who's going to win because my bracket's up in flames.
Your bracket's in flames. All right, who are the favorites this year? Because I'm like, where are we at? 16 right now?
Yep. Don't make me say the DOOK.
Okay, so it's time for me to start watching.
There you go.
I usually come in about 16. So the Dukers are a contender this year.
They're the number one overall team. They had a shaky first. They almost lost first round, but they dominated second round. Okay. Connecticut's really good. I like Purdue, but I just jinxed them.
Yeah, I saw Purdue beat. I saw them beat Michigan. Yeah, I watched Purdue.
No,
beat
Michigan. Michigan's number one. Oh, okay, but you didn't mean the tournament. You just meant earlier in the year. Okay. Michigan.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, okay, was it earlier in the year? All right, so Michigan
and Michigan State are both still alive.
Yeah.
All right. Nice.
No. I think Michigan. I know Michigan beat Ohio State in the Big Ten tournament, so that was cool. Go Blue!
It's like, goddamn the fucking Big Ten, man. Like, because like Cronin and I are the exact same. Like, I don't give a fuck what happens, but fucking Ohio State can suck a dick. Like right now. Like,
yeah.
Oh, they got trolled. They got trolled. They lost their first round matchup, and I forgot the team that beat them. The team that beat them said, "Yeah, we beat an Ohio State University instead of the Ohio State University."
State. That's so cool. I love it. God, I did like. Oh my God, I hated that. Like last season for Penn State was so bad because they had such high expectations, and that shit was gone
Yeah.
so fast.
That
Like
head
it was
coach
like
was there at least a year longer than he should have been.
apparently he wasn't coaching anymore. Well, this we're at an hour 38, so I'm gonna be editing the fuck out of this, and I'll probably cut out this last part. But I guess we should probably wrap up. We gotta say all this stuff. What's like where are we at now? We're on Apple. Well, no, everyone's finding us on YouTube. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, and we are on YouTube. But the views are spectacularly overwhelming on YouTube. So we're gonna keep making our little video clips and throwing shit out there. Throw for some back out from some of the first 7 episodes, and yeah, see you in 2 weeks.
If I could wrap us up on.
Oh yeah, you wanted to end with a song, right?
I usually do a song. This time I'm gonna do. I told you guys I was doing a Spanish word of the day, and my brother who lives in Mexico actually helped me with one word of the day that I thought I had correct. So most people think interesante. We had this via text. Most people think interesante means interesting. That's not what interesante means. Interesante in Mexico means where Terry's uncle puts his penis. In Terry.
That's it.
Yeah.
Interesante.
That's what that means.
Interesante.
Poses his penis.
In Mexico.
Yeah, see, I got that one. That's that guy right there. And with that, you're about to hear the TikToks. All right, later, fellas.
Peace.